Hello, Collective. Welcome to the channel. I hope you're doing well. I got another message here for you. Today is December 16th, 2025. I hope the day is treating you kindly. So the curator is telling somebody about a woman saying she is a homo sapiens. She's the magistrate. It sounds as though she doesn't want non-homo sapiens, humans, in her community because they've been feeding on them. Scientists recognize at least 21 extinct human species, with our own Homo sapiens being the sole survivor. They tried to exterminate us. There are copies, near perfect copies, except that they have no chakras, no emotions, and except for malice and a happiness that somebody's suffering, and there's no rainbow covenant with God. Most people on the planet are not Homo sapiens. The damage is done, and it sounded like the curator saying this. Someone said something about the Omega. This is the end. The curator is talking about contacting her. There's a no contact order on her. The curator said something about she hesitated, but she signed the contract. Now, I don't know who they're talking about in this instance. Between these messages that I write, there's usually time lapse. They come in sporadically through the night. So it may not be the magistrate that they're talking about when they're talking about signing a contract. So it could be that they have gained the alliance of a feminine. They may have trapped a sacrifice, gained some kind of an agreement, some kind of assistance, some kind of a permission. They're saying a marking. She needs a marking. So this woman who signed the contract, she hesitated, but then signed it. It sounds to me like she needs a marking. This is a copycat. They want to present her as the true chosen. They want to try to create some sort of a scenario that is they want to accuse this magistrate of being a fraud. So they couldn't unalive her. She made it through an impossible life path. She beat at least 2 of their worldwide records. And they're mad because they got to leave. And she's not offering services. She doesn't want them in their territory because they've been feeding on the family. So they got this woman who apparently hesitated but signed a contract, and she needs a marking. So they got to get some kind of a marking on her. They were talking about incubation, like they're growing her a clone look-alike for the magistrate, and they need to put some kind of a marking on it to prove that, you know, she is the illusion that they're trying to force on people. So there's something about an assembly, a gathering, a meeting for a common purpose. Something about she's recruiting that. So they're talking about the magistrate. She's making changes. You know, a month ago or so, there was a feminine there telling one of these fellas and their interdimensional leaders that this was only temporary. They were going to allow her to establish herself, and then they were going to flip and copycat her. So there's some nasty people there. So there is an assembly. She is recruiting. They're talking about legal proceedings, which is a trial, a hearing, an arbitration used to resolve disputes, enforce laws, or administer justice. She may be recruiting justices. The magistrate was tested. Apparently, she generated or manifested flowers out of thin air, and they were real flowers. They're discussing her celibacy, her purity. She's the complete opposite of what this curator and his nasty Jack bros have been looking for regarding a sacrifice. They've been calling the magistrate an appetizer. They want to harvest her. She is apparently one of the strongest people, and they want to feed her to whatever it is. You know, these fellas really screwed themselves up, and they say that the divine feminine has the antidote to their stupid genetic screw up that they did to themselves. They genetically modified themselves right out of the Rainbow Covenant, and they've been stealing it from people who actually have it and then mimicking them. They've been sacrificing people who actually are a part of this Rainbow Covenant, and then they've been bumping iPhone to iPhone and downloading or uploading the soul memory and the commitment. And then they've been sanitizing the original and then sacrificing them into suffering, a new birth in a narcissistic family, no doubt. So she's the next best thing, a beautiful little appetizer. They've chosen her as their sacrifice, apparently. However, she's not available. They're talking about tag. Now, tagging is something they do sexually in the dream space. At least that's where they did me. They send in a dream lover, and then they tag the vaginal area by a cavity by hooking some kind of a hook into it. It's got a string attached to it. And they tug on it every once in a while to make sure it's still set. They tag the person as though they are a piece of meat, an energy source that they have claimed and will feed on. A younger masculine is asking somebody, is she a masturbator? Because if they send you a masturbation dream and you masturbate and have an orgasm, they can stand right there and do whatever their little trick is to harvest the energy. And then they use your sexual energy to go out and create illusions with their stupid little magic tricks using your energetic signature. And you were never in agreement for it, never gave permission for it. They just stole the energy deceitfully. And then framed the person with whatever nasty deed they did with their magic or the energy. Or they had a real bang up party going over there in the 4D. So they do want to give dreams of masturbation and then harvest that orgasmic energy to trap people in a contract. Now, in the dream space, I had some fella call me in, and there was a priest there. I couldn't see either of their faces, but there was like a magic trick going on. And in the dream space, I could feel my hands moving down toward my groin with this sexual energy. And I pulled back. And he tried to do it again. And I said, no, I don't want to. And then, so it became this thing where he was actually like forcefully pulling the energy out of my root chakra. And it hurt bad. And I had to make myself vanish. I had to disappear. This masculine, this nasty Jack, he says, you will help me. And I was like, no, I won't. So they do that. They come in, they give you a masturbation dream while your dream self is over there having a dream, and you don't even know what they're doing to you, but they got a priest right there waiting to file a false marriage contract so that they can tap into the spiritual inheritance and the authority, the position, and the covenant with the Most High God. They like to bind people this way. They're these fiends, frauds, have been harvesting the sleeper for centuries, binding them in this fashion, using their own energy, and then claiming their spiritual wealth while framing them as a terrorist, using that energy to hurt people. This is why masturbation was considered bad, I believe, not due to sin, but due to the vampire, unseen harvesters using your energy to bind, hex, curse you and those you love. Someone is talking about the Valentine mistress. I never heard of that. Apparently, it's an extramarital partner celebrated by man on February 13th, unofficially known as Mistress Day, the day before Valentine's Day, allowing him to honor his wife on the 14th while still acknowledging his affair partner. Apparently, they have a Valentine mistress. They all have Valentine's mistresses. So, apparently, somebody said they're giving people heart attacks. So the Valentine mistress goes in and then gives that man a heart attack, and then the wife is left as a grieving widow, and this mistress has collected a soul and an energy source to be harvested in its next cycle. They're stealing people's husbands through reckless sex and, a pretend show of interest. So it sounded like they said celebrity has to go. The Valentine mistress has been an extramarital partner giving people heart attacks and destroying marriages, attaching themselves to that soul and claiming it. So celebrity has to go. A condition of fame for a person, a false idol, abusing the energy of people. They're talking about clearance. So clearance is official permission, or it could be a clearing of the territory, the foundational realm of this magistrate's territory. They're saying that something is taboo. So these non-humans or non-homo sapiens, they're copycats without chakra systems. They don't belong to the Rainbow Covenant. Having relations with them, marrying them, having children with them, it's taboo. It's forbidden. They're dead entities inside of an animated corpse, kept alive and looking vibrant by the energy they harvest off of people. And they've been having mistress day with people's husbands, and then the husband has a heart attack, so the wife loses her husband, and even in the spiritual realm they're bound away from her. So this is breaking up families in the biggest way. So something is taboo, and he's talking about someone saying she's irritated. It sounds like he may want to defile somebody's reputation by pointing it out. They see emotion as a weakness, as instability. They cannot understand emotion, for they do not have the capacity to have empathy for anybody. All they can do is mimic it, act like it. They can cry on cue. They can be sexy and alluring, being your most precious little kitten, and the next moment they could stick a knife in it and it won't bother them one bit. They have the value of dead men and women. They don't have a soul. They're soulless beings, harvesting souls. So this curator wants to present a different female as a soft-spoken religious angel who has the proper marking, but she has to have Yeah, she has to have that marking. So they're growing a clone, and they're putting a marking on it. Apparently it's going to look like this magistrate or whatever. I don't even know what they're planning, but I know what they're planning. They're planning on getting a copycat into a vessel that has some sort of a marking. And then they want to present her as the real deal and try to get this magistrate framed as a fraud, as a liar. They want to create an identity war. He's determined to claim the position of this magistrate as planetary gatekeeper through a proxy, through a manufactured, soft-spoken woman. This magistrate is the planetary gatekeeper, and these people have to get off the planet. They're not welcome here. They've been feeding on humanity, on the Homo sapiens. There's 21 different species of humanity, and the only one left alive is the Homo sapiens, and they've just went in and violated the genetics of everyone with that little COVID thing and all of the injections that they gave everyone. And when that queen left and she hit that big light, and all those lights went up in the form of like a DNA strand, except there was a third strand in the DNA thing. So yeah, they CRISPRed people, trying to move them away from God and the Rainbow Covenant, claiming their soul and their energy for whatever entity or tribe they are. They are saying that someone has a 90% approval rating. So this magistrate has a 90% approval rating, and they want to get in there and copycat her. They not only copycat her, they want to traumatize her and then download her soul and her soul value, all of the memories of all of the struggles and the pain. They want to give that memory of effort to somebody who doesn't even have the capacity to have empathy or love or care for anybody. And they want to put her in this magistrate's position so that they can gain control over the planetary gate, gain control over this magistrate's authority when it comes to the law, and gain this dignitary's position so that they can rule the territory and all of the Homo sapiens' lives upon it, and all of the furry little winged ones that we love so much. They're looking for a sacrifice, a battery, and someone with gifts. Now, the Most High God said that this is the end of their relationship with batteries. The mother, in one of her beautiful aspects, stated to be prepared that they will not survive. So they're coming and they're trying, but they will not survive. And this winter, they will fall away in a big way. They want to come and harvest those things and pretend that they are exactly that. They haven't earned anything. They are thieves. They want to present as worthy of this energy and its reward. They can only steal a life and then pretend that it was always theirs, hoping to claim the gain, to use that powerful force and hurt people with it, bind them. Everybody that she loves, they want to do it again, exactly what they did last cycle, and then convince everybody that it's her doing it, and that, and then to get everybody to attack her and try to do what they did. They do not have reverence for what one becomes when they overcame their challenges, when they did all of that shadow work, when they had to breathe into the death energy that they kept pushing in on people. And the alchemist had to do the severe and very tough work of alchemizing it. They want to give that, all that effort and all of that knowledge and all of that resilience to somebody who would not ever be able to walk the walk, or hold the energy in the proper resonance. It's a powerful energy, and it's very, very dangerous in the wrong hands. And if they cannot produce the energy for themselves or withstand the burden that it came from, then they certainly should not be wearing it or given it. They don't have temperance. They're greedy with a need to dominate and consume life. They want to choose which species gets to live here. They're saying in the astral, she is da 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 da. They said that they poisoned her. There appears to be camaraderie between them. So they've been poisoning the magistrate. What, they think that they're going to unalive somebody who has been given life from the Most High God. They think they're just going to walk right in there and take the life away from somebody that God said shall live. This is odd. So they're talking about the workplace, and it seems to be, they seem to be eating or burning someone. I don't know what that means, okay, because I was asleep. The curator's talking about sex appeal and this mother figure, this magistrate. When she first got here, somebody's saying something is disabled. They're being told no. So they had this magistrate in a perpetual state of youth. They loved the minors. She was teen. So when God resurrected her and then led her back into an ascension, he also gave her the body that she should be having, her adult body. And apparently she's got a lot of sex appeal. God resurrected her and then broke that, whatever that is, something was disabled. Something was disabled. And they're being told no. They can't see. They've been keeping the divine spirits, holy spirits, in a perpetual state of youth in these other dimensional spaces because they need the purity of these ones for sacrifices. So they kind of disconnected them and kind of been jacking around their life all this time. There's a thing about this uninvited guest and the spiritual. Now, I don't understand what I just wrote here. Okay, because I record these in the middle of the night and then I write them down when I get up. So there's a thing about this uninvited guest and the spiritual. It says research into it, and then eviction. So whatever that means to you. Because they're allowed to be loud and present, but they're only allowed to eat a fruit. And I don't know what that means. One of these masculines said something is impenetrable. Electric, someone said. The feminines that these nasty jacks have been sacrificing and trapping, and they've been wrapping the crown and disconnecting them from source, and then they've been intervening and taking the intellectual property of these beautiful divine feminines and then claiming those clairs and all of those gifts as their own. These nasty jacks don't have clairs. They don't have life. The only life that they experience is the life that they consume, and the only clairs that they have access to are the clairs of these beautiful divine feminines that they tricked into some kind of an agreement and then trapped while they siphoned them, hiding them. So nobody sees them and recognizes that what they're doing. This magistrate survived such a circumstance, shined brightly, was recognized, and now everything's going crazy. So the roses that were sacrificed by these nasty jacks are getting a new beginning. One younger masculine said arrogantly, "We have a child." He wants to use the child as a link to the new timeline, to the magistrate's territory. A masculine is talking to this one, saying that they are entitled to whatever it is that the child is getting. That's why they have children. I heard one of these ones say, you know what I hate? I hate my kids. They don't like human children. They don't like the Homo sapiens children. They have them so they can tap into the child's spiritual inheritance. So they can claim that body for whatever energy payment they need to give, whatever darkness they need to give it to. One of these masqueraders stated that he hates this woman. There's a masculine talking about the military. They're talking about a feminine's achievement. The curator is talking to his buddies about 1,000 years. And then that song, Devil Went Down to Georgia, ran through my mind. And it's run through my mind about 3 times in the last few days. It sounded like somebody said benediction. Benediction is a blessing, a declaration of good wishes, often given by clergy at the end of a religious service, invoking divine favor and peace on the congregation. It could be that they're honoring this magistrate as the mother. The curator is talking about the damage has already been done. These fellas are talking about, they're talking about menopausal. And they're asking if she has children. This adversary is saying, as long as she needs the medicine, they can do whatever they want regarding prostituting her energy. They're discussing her activation, and they want to harvest her and claim those activations, that authority, that status, those privileges, and that covenant. This is the message. I hope it brings clarity to something you already intuitively knew, and I'll see you on the next one, everybody. Bye.